Good afternoon, everyone. So, last time we talked about different theories in policy, social welfare policy, and making it. So, this time let's talk about the approaches to social welfare policy. So, when we say approaches, these are the ways, no, the techniques in kumbaga social welfare policy in creating social welfare policy. So there are three major approaches to social welfare policy, namely safety net approach, welfare state approach, and community approach. So in social welfare policy daw naatay tatlo ka main approaches nga ginagamit or ginabasihan. So number one is safety net approach. This holds that individuals, families, and local communities are the primary source of social care, which is tama. 'Di ba? So, individuals and families and local communities are the primary source of social care. Pag natay problema, natay kumbaga mga problems nga need na to solbaron, si family ato ang mga friends, other individuals ang una natong ginadaganan. They are the primary source of social care. Ato ang community, ato ang barangay. So nga na siya. State provision should be kept to the minimum. Complementary to what informal networks in the community provide, let's determine both their capacity and their moral resolution to care for their own. So, this approach simply tells you to prepare so-called net. Kumbaga, ang kari siya nga approach, ang iyang gina-point lang dari is to prepare a net. So, ginaunsa ba nato paggamit ang net? Magsala ta og something, 'di ba? Net atong gamit. Mangisda ta, net atong gamit. 'Di ba? So, unsa ang purpose sa net? To catch, prevent something from falling or filter out. So nga na siya. The same with the safety net, which will catch the people who fail to meet basic needs. 'Di ba? Kung natay isa ka singit or sungkit sa Bisaya, nga magsungkit ta og prutas para dili siya mahulog, ginagamitan nato or ginabutangan nato og net. 'Di ba? So the same with safety nets. Para dili ma-result into bigger problem ang isa ka individual nga wala na meet iyahang needs, tabangan nato siya through policy, through this basis for policy making. So nga na siya. Public welfare intervention should only be used as last resort. So nga na siya. Kinahanglan ang karimanggong public welfare interventions. Ang resources ani are limited. Again, limited. Naalay siya limit. No? That's why dili siya ang dapat maabuso. Ginagamit lang ni siya ang karing public welfare interventions pag karang na nagamit na nato ang other resources sa isa ka tao. For example, in medical setting practice sa social work, no? As long as napa siya pwede iprinda para sa iyang hospital bill, kung pwede, iprinda. No? Kung naa pa siya mapangayo ag tabang, mangayo sa siyag tabang. Para kung mag-tap na siya sa social services, dili kayo dako ang makuha sa social services. nga tabang or nga amount para sa iyahang medical or hospital bill nga tabang, no? Because this is limited. And of course, there are even even na iba pang organizations, foundations or ilang resources pod are limited. So nga na siya, dili na siya unlimited. That's why it must be the last resort. Kung wala na gyud choice, saka na mag-tap for public welfare interventions. That's why gani kumbaga upon data gathering dapat mabalaan nato sa sa helping process nato, dapat mabalaan nato unsa ang internal o external resources nga makatabang sa iyaha. As long as available ang iyahang internal resources without tapping the external resources, gamiton sa nato na bago ta mo tap sa iba nga source of resources. So nga na siya. Next, community approach. Medyo short lang ni siya nga discussion kay nipis na lang pud ang atong libro para sa policy. So dili pud nato pwede hutdon dayon. Okay? This assume that lay people have more potential, ability and commitment to care for each other than is assumed by the welfare state approach. Power and decision making in social services ought to be devolved as far as possible to local communities. So kung dito sa una karing safety net approach, ang target diri sa policy is dapat walay mahulog nga people from kumbaga their problem nga wala na meet. So diri pod sa safety net, I mean sa community approach, ang iya pong diri is ang community ang isa sa dapat motabang sa isa ka individual. No? Pag ang iyahang needs kay karing gitawag na to nga dili niya ma-meet, before mo tap sa higher source of resource, kinahanglan si community magtabang sa iyaha. So there are different kinds of needs, dili lang man kwarta. No? So daghan pa. So care for each other. When we care for each other, di ba? Pag ang people in the community care for each other, they can give whatever they can give para matabangan ang ilahang kauban. So nga na siya. For example, during pandemic, nag-asa ba ang LGUs sa national government? So wala. So wala nag-asa ang LGUs sa national government. So naiiba nga pobre nga LGUs nga need gyud og tabang from national. Pero there are also cities nga rich, mga dato nga cities nga they can give before pamutap sa national, napaman sila budget para motabang sa ilahang community. So whatever the cause, no, political man or dili, as long as they care for each other, they care for their people, then they can extend help. So nga na, di ba, have you ever heard nga katong ningon si Duterte nga dili lang sa maghulat sa SAP. Maringa na to yung ginamin. Ang LGUs kung pwede mo tabang paghatag sa relief goods, mag-alat og budget para sa relief goods para ihatag sa mga apektado nga residente, then mag-prepare og budget for it. So nga na siya, community approach. Then number 3 is welfare state approach. The fundamental assumption of this approach is that the state has an obligation to provide comprehensive services to respond to the problems of poverty, old age, and disability, whatever their cause. So, sa welfare state approach, iyahang target diri is iyahang gina-point diri is people in the community has the obligation para kumbaga respond to the problem. Sa ato ganing sa ato ang code of ethics, we believe that the government and the people has joint responsibility when it comes to social security and others. Social justice, social security. So, the same with social welfare state policy approach. Si state ug ang the people sa community and the state has joint responsibility to respond to any problem. Poverty ba? Karing kapobrehon? So, sorry sa naga-pop up kay di na ko pwede ma-off akong data kay na ako gina-upload. So, karing disability bang ang problem? Old age, tiguwangon, or kapobrehon? So, nga na siya. That is welfare state approach. Two variants of social welfare state approach. So dili lang COVID ang tagag variant. So pati welfare state approach na siya two variants. The state as provider of resources channeled in the direction of the public services with voluntary organizations and informal community networks. So in our community, there are a lot of non-government organizations, other private organizations, voluntary organizations na pwede nato sila matap for resources, before ta makatap sa government resources, government services. So that is one of the variants of state welfare state approach. Next, number 2, partnership on one hand between state and voluntary organizations and local community networks. On the other, in providing resources and public services, it is committed to deliver comprehensive personal social services to every citizen on proof of need. So, number 2 is partnership on one hand. So, partnership is everything. This is important because, kumbaga, dili tanan resources kaya nato i-provide, if kita ang nasa voluntary organizations. That's why we need to know unsa ang mga karing mga available or existing organizations na maaring makatabang sa tua, possible makatabang sa tua. So nga na siya, policy. Kumbaga sa overall diri sa tatlo, ang ginamain sa policy, di ba? For example, during SAP, katong mga naay trabaho, tong naga-earn pa, dili lang sa tagaan, di ba? Because there are people nga mas nanginahanglan pa more than them. And katong mga people nga wala joy capacity to meet their basic needs or their needs during the quarantine period. So nga na siya, policy. Social welfare policy. Basis. This lesson introduces you to the different values which you have to consider in the analysis of social welfare policy. So, for the analysis of social welfare policy, natay basis. So, what are those? Levels of analysis and values. Number one is generic. Number two is specialized. When we say generic, natural, this is, kumbaga, practical, sa mga terms, no? Equality, equity, and adequacy. So, kinahanglan, mo ni siya ang ma-meet sa ato ang policy. This, naa siya equality, no? Equity and adequacy. So, sorry good guys sa gapapap. Then, specialized, we have privacy, dignity, work, and independence. So, that's all for today. A very short discussion. That's because nipis na lang ang ato ang topic about policy sa libro. Okay, so good afternoon everyone. So quiz will follow. So good day.